Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle is a game I don't think anyone saw coming. The partnership of Ubisoft and Nintendo to create this XCOM-style tactics game is absolutely bizarre, but it has produced something very enjoyable. While featuring Nintendo's characters, the game was primarily developed by Ubisoft, and that really shows. It's lacking that Nintendo polish that we're all used to. And what really stood out to me about this game being developed by Ubisoft is that we were far more expecting glitches, and those did show up in this game. While playing a game, I got stuck on a staircase, watched a screen of just white for about 30 seconds before the cutscene started playing, and even found an infinite loading screen, which I didn't even think were in games nowadays. This really stands out because, like I said, you expect it in a Ubisoft game, which this is absolutely. This is not a Nintendo game, and you should not look at it like one. One thing that is very Nintendo is Grant Kirkhope's soundtrack, which is as fantastic as you can expect from Kirkhope. And his soundtrack continues to bring all the joy that comes with children's letters from Santa without thinking about how they'll be recycled into toilet paper. In this game, you are expected to save a small rabbit called Spawny, who is creating all the various rabid monsters that you see. And so you travel through the four worlds, in this case Grassland, Spooky Land, Lava Land, and some kind of desert and iceland hybrid, in order to save Spawny, while hearing a few cringy jokes. The jokes are very cringy, most of the time. A couple of them are very good, but a lot of the jokes just don't quite hit, as they've got that sort of rabid humour that is very similar to Minion humour, I should say. It's just kind of a collection of lol random things happening that doesn't really work as jokes. But the combat is actually where this game really shines. You might look at it as sort of XCOM dumbed down or simplified, and that's very much what it is. And that has its advantages. XCOM is a very stressful game. This is, while still tactical, it's much more relaxed. In order to make the game simpler, a lot of chance is removed from the game. The maps are pre-made to go with the story as opposed to procedurally generated as you see in XCOM, and accuracy is very simple. If you're not behind cover, it's 100%. If you're behind half cover, it's 50%. If you're behind full cover, it's 0%. And in my opinion, that makes the game better, because while it means the game is substantially more easy, it also means that you don't get screwed over as much. The difficulty curve in this game is kind of messed up. As you'd expect, it starts out very easy, but slowly ramps up difficulty until you're fighting the level 2 boss, which is insane. I had to restart multiple times just to beat him. But once you get comfortable with your characters in Worlds 3 and 4, you can easily blitz through them without even thinking about it. This is in part to do with the fact that you can inflict status conditions more often, which can provide great advantages, such as freezing enemies or just sending them flying. And the fact that later on some upgrades are able to break the game, with you being able to heal far more health than any enemy could take away per turn. The problem with the character system is pretty simple really. While it gives you 8 characters to choose from and upgrade how you wish, you have to have Mario on your team, and you cannot have a team without a Rabbid. This means that the game acts as if you're going to have a huge customizable team that you're going to make your own, but in reality, your team is going to be pretty similar to a lot of other people's. And some characters are way better than others. Once you're used to them, you're not going to want to use characters you've unlocked in later parts of the game. I didn't even try using Yoshi because I knew I could just play the game better with my own team. But the combat is great, focusing around movements such as dashing in order to harm enemies, and quickly running and gunning your way through the enemies, unlike XCOM where you'd play more cautiously. Where the game shines is during the mid-boss fights, where you're having to execute plans on the fly while fighting enemies that are far more powerful than what you're used to. But the boss fights lack something. They're often a mix of puzzle and combat-based boss, but most of them are either way too hard or way too easy. Like I said, the second world boss is really difficult for that point in the game. But the final boss is incredibly easy. I thought I'd screwed up so bad that I had to restart, but it turns out I beat him on the first try. Though the whole point of the game is not really that you beat any level, it's usually pretty easy to do that, but that you earn the highest grade in doing so by completing it within a certain amount of turns without any characters dying. But the game doesn't actually tell you how many turns it takes the first time you fight that level. You have to go back and replay it to know that. And while that may attract 100% completionists, who this game is absolutely built for, it means that you're going back and winning a bunch of battles that are easy later on in the game. And that's not exactly fun gameplay. What I like though is that once you're done with a fight, the battlefield seamlessly blends in with the overworld and you're able to walk around and solve puzzles. And the puzzles really help break up the monotony of combat. Often they're rather simple button pushing or block pushing puzzles, but that doesn't stop them from being surprisingly difficult at times, and even allowing you to access healing items with alternate solutions in between combat. What's dumb about the puzzles though is that after beating each boss you get an upgrade that you can use to solve future puzzles or puzzles you've already passed. But there's no real reason to go back to solve puzzles from the past because A, you have to trek through an overworld that is now relatively empty, and B, most of what you get is just useless collectibles like concept art or music, both of which are easily accessed on the internet. Once you've cleared each world, however, you can go back to perform various challenges or even a bonus stage. The bonus stages are fun. Often you have to fight multiple mini-bosses during them, and you get a large amount of upgrade material for doing it. But the challenges where old stages are reused for a new fight can be rather boring and never give you that much upgrade material. But all of these are ultimately small criticisms at what is a really good game at its core. The combat is just so much fun. It's XCOM style, but really simplified down and much easier to grasp for someone who just wants to play the game through the story and move on. Ultimately, I like the way this game took an XCOM style combat, made it a lot more aggressive and fast paced, and even simplified it a lot. Once you get into the groove, Mario plus Rabbids will grip you, but it might take a while to get there.